Greetings, space engineers. Today you're going to be receiving the tutorial for the very first episode of Introduction to the Star System. If you haven't used Space Engineers or played it very much, this is definitely what you want to be looking at. This is using all the latest updates from the most recent updates from September 2016. There have been some significant changes since it was first released. Obviously, you have planets, and you also have different things, including what we call there's resources now, and they are called boulders. Now, boulders are on the ground, above the ground, big rocks that allow you to receive and mine all the resources you need pretty easily, but each boulder will have one specific resource. It could be iron, it could be uranium, silicon, and so on. The other resources are in the ground, and you have to dig for them. When the boulders first came out, they were pretty prolific, and since the updates, they have really reduced them down a lot. So you still have to dig deep. So what we're going to do now, we're going to create the new world. I'll step you step by step on how to do this, and so you can basically identify the correct games settings for your star system. You can adjust and control the landing ship resources to minimize the waste of your valuable energy. You can then select and identify a great landing position. You can land successfully, convert your ship to a permanent base, and then we're also going to set up renewable energy to recharge your batteries. Finally, we're going to set up a little mine so we can get some uranium. So let's start this, and if you look at the screen, you will see here our options at the main menu. We're going to click New World, and from here we're going to choose Custom World. You can see here under Scenarios all the different options are available. So what we're going to do is quickly scroll down for you, and this is how it used to be when it first started, these here. And one of the new ones is Habitable Planet, Star System, Moons, and so on. So we're actually going to go Star System. Now the Star System is a wonderful scenario that will actually have an Earth and its moon, a Mars and its moon, and an alien planet and its moon. So we're putting the name, and you'll see that name when you save the game. You'll get loaded up later on, and then we're going to put in episode 1. And the game mode's creative for survival. Pretty simple. Everyone knows what that means. Survival is you have to survive on the planet. You don't get given anything for free. You have to earn everything. So we're going to choose survival, and also online mode. Now if you're online, you can make private game. You can add your friends. As you can see here, it says offline is for offline mode. You're not on the internet. Private, other players cannot join. Friends, you can have your friends from Steam join, and public, everybody can join. We're going to set this to offline right now. This is really important. Environmental hostilities. We are going to set this to safe. What this means is there's going to be meteor showers, and if we're not prepared for it, they can be absolutely devastating. So we're going to hit this to save. Autosave we want on, and we want scenario edit mode, we want to turn that off. Most of the time you got mods, don't worry about them. We're going to stay vanilla, which means no mods. And as you can see here and here, we've got no mods available and no current active mods. So this is exactly what we want to do. If you wanted some, you could click Browse Workshop, but we're not going to go through that today. So I'm going to cancel that. We're going to click the Advanced. Now this point here is very, very important. Again, make sure it's survival. Your inventory size. I always recommend buy 10. The reason I say that is because a realistic is like 400 and it's tiny. For 4,000, much more efficient, and trust me, you won't regret it. Everything else though, I put out realistic. So when you do get something like mining uranium, it will take a while. Be prepared for that. You may decide you want your refinery speed to go up a little bit, but personally, I choose to keep them more realistic. I scroll further down. I leave this all untouched. That looks good depending on your system. And then I do make some additional things here. The day duration, just so you know, obviously you have day and night and the sun rotating around. the planet. Now, the sun rotates around the planet. You don't rotate around the sun. So for every 2 hours of sunlight, you'll have 2 hours of nighttime. Very important, unless you're at the poles where you'll have a lot more sunshine or darkness, depending on which side of the pole you're at, north or south. Most of the time, we're going to leave these as they are. We're going to make one significant change. We're going to disable the cyberhounds. They are very difficult to keep at bay. They are very powerful, and if they can't get you, they will blow up and they'll cause all sorts of havoc. We don't want that unless you know exactly what you want to do. And I personally will be enabling air tightness. This will change the performance of your machine. So if you're not sure the machine can handle it, I would say if you got an i3 or less, don't do it. But if you have an i5 or higher i7 processor, maybe like a GTX 970 graphics card, then you should be fine. I'm going to enable this, and you can see this warning just came up. Do we want to enable the air tightness or have a negative influence performance? Meaning it's going to go slower, but we can say yes. Okay, so we're going to click on OK after going through this. And finally, most importantly, world generator. This will allow us to choose what we see in space and what we see on the planet. Now, these are all the planets. So being Mars, Earth, and the alien planet. They all have flora. Obviously, the moons do not, but the planets do. We are going to change this to infinite high density. When you are in space, you will see asteroids about 150 kilometers from the planet. Then this will be a high density. This is what we want. They'll come in really handy later on. And we want the flora density to be at extreme. Again, don't go below medium. If you go for low or none, you will not get any of the big rocks, the boulders, and then that means you'll be limiting what you can, how easy you can get to your resource. So we're going to click on OK. And this looks good. Tutorial 1, episode 1. Everything looks fine here. So we are going to now click on OK, and we're going to start Space Engineers. So one of the beauties about Space Engineers, it's a lot of fun. No matter what you do, you can choose how you want to do it, what you want to make, what your ship looks like. You've got total control over everything. And don't ever hesitate to go and look at the mods, because the mods are a wonderful thing. You're not cheating. They're made available through the player's environment, through the Steam store. So back to this, we are now dropping like a brick. So we hit V, and holding the Alt key down, we can see our ship. And if you're holding the Alt key down, move your mouse around, and we are looking around our ship. What we're looking for is a great landing spot. Now I found two, but specifically this is the one I'm going to target right there above my lander. It's behind us. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit V again, and we're going to rotate him around until we see that landing spot. Now importantly, if you look at the crosshairs, do you see how the angle of the altimeter is different? We're going to use the Q and the E. In this case, the E went to the right, and we want to use the Q. We want to balance that up. There we go. The other thing we can do is hit Z or Z, turn on initial dampers on and off. We want them on. That means our systems will maintain us. So when we get to the point, as you can see, we're slowing down, the speed slowly stopping. It means when gravity is going to be kept at bay. The next we want to do is we hit I for India. There's several important things we want to do here. First of all, we want to go to control panel. We want to turn off some things that we don't need. First of all, we're going to change the air vent to depressurize. What this is going to do is going to take all the oxygen out of the aircraft, and it's going to put them into the oxygen tank. Don't worry, you've got a helmet on, you're in a spacesuit, so it's not going to be a problem. So we're going to click on for depressurize, and then we're going to scroll down till you see the batteries. And on each battery, I want you to click semi-auto and click discharge. Now you can also click on battery 2, hold your shift key to battery 3 and 4, and do them all at the same time. This means that the batteries will use power as needed, and when there's more power than what they need, they will then store that power automatically. So we're going to scroll down now. We're going to turn off the interior lights. So clicking on the first one to the bottom one, and we're going to say off. What we're doing here is trying to conserve the power. Do not do the atmospheric thrusters just yet. LCD panels, do the same. Toggle them off. We're going to go in, we'll leave the ore detector on, the medical room, the generator and the tank on. We're going to turn off the programmable block. We're going to leave the refinery. The sliding door we're going to open and then turn off. The small reactor, we're going to turn this off. And then the timer block, we're going to turn that off as well. Now the one last thing I think I missed, yes, the atmospheric lander Mark 1, that is your beacon. You want to turn this off. This is the biggest drain of power you have right here. So we're going to send it off. And now, when we go back, we X this out, you can see we still have 60 days of fuel. That's because we're hovering. So what we're going to do is, if I bring my cursor down, you see that blue just here? This is going to be our landing spot. So we're going to use the A to go forward, the S to go back, the W for forward, S back, the A and D for strafing. So we are now going to fly. We go external view, and that's by the V key, V for Victor. We are now flying over to that blue section. Now that blue section is ice. Ice is important. First of all, the ice is wonderful because it's frozen water, and you will use that to get hydrogen for your hydrogen thrusters to get into space later on. Important fuel, and there's a lot of it around, but it's usually in lakes. You can also see it in the snow. The other good thing is it's always flat, so this is a perfect place to build our base. So as we're getting close to the ice, you can see there's some discolorations in the lake. Now what you'll find is that is mineable resources. They will actually appear darker, so if you look on the ground, as you see mineable resources, they will be darker than the regular pieces of ground. So that means under the ground there is going to be some materials like iron or uranium or something else that we'll be able to mine and then use later on to build more components so we can build better ships, bigger ships, and get out to space and to other planets. As you can see, my autosave just kicked in right now, so that's really great. What that means is obviously my system crashes, I can pick up, and we're also keeping an eye while we're doing this. Ooh, had a bit of hesitation there. On my altitude, which is at numbers, it's dropping right now because I'm going down. We are also looking for boulders. If I happen to see a boulder, I'll let you know what to look for. Sometimes they take a while to kick in. They do spawn randomly. And what we'll do later on is we'll actually go through how to set a GPS locator so you personally can see where things are through your GPS. You can see just hesitate a bit. The ground's starting to show properly. The trees are there. This is looking like a really good spot. This is where we want to be. I haven't seen any boulders yet, but they're a lot rarer than what they used to be. So we're just about at our landing base. We're getting there. So life is looking good so far. Let's just kind of, here we go. We just look around a little bit. Yeah, she's looking good. And hit V and V again to help centralize things if you need to. Now one of the good things about this big landing craft is it has a really good sized ore detector. So we want to start slowing down in a moment, and the best way to do that is go 90 degrees. So we want to tilt the aircraft 90 degrees and use these big jets to slow us down. We're going to do that right now. It uses a lot more energy, as you can see, but down to 43 minutes. Okay, and then back again. There we go. And we're going to use the Alt key to look around. We are above, so you can see those mineable resources. So let's go and check them out. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go V and V. I'm going to use my Z key. Now, did you notice gravity's not taking effect? There's a little glitch. There's a few glitches we'll go through in a minute. But what we have to do is just hit spacebar real quick, which is normally the up, and then you can use gravity to your effect, and when you get to about 300 hit Z, and then you can also use the C instead of the Z. It's a lot more controllable, so hold down your Z and that essentially turns off the thrusters that push up, which is your spacebar. So if you need a gain altitude, you go up. Now the other thing is, you'll see what just popped up is a little icon down the bottom about 220 meters. Now that's not telling me the depth to the ground, that's telling me that there's ice nearby. So if you hit the H for Harry, you can see how we're changing the information on the screen. So fully visible, switch to no names, switch off so you don't see anything, normal, and fully visible. I like the fully visible. So we're going to get down to about 100 meters. One thing you'll notice, if I hit the C right now, nothing's happening. Got to hit spacebar, and C is just a little glitch, but it's not too much of a problem. Get down to around 100 meters, and you have a look, there's my shadow. Woohoo! See? There's my shadow. So if you ever need to take the HUD off, hit the tab key. If you do that though, you can't see what resources nearby. So we can see that there's ice nearby. So let's kind of scoot over here real quick and do a recce. So what have we got here? So this area has silicon and magnesium and nickel, very handy. What we're looking for predominantly is we're looking for iron, and we're also looking for uranium. They're the two key elements we'll need to pick up to start with. Now keep an eye on your fuel time. At the moment I'm somewhere between 39 to 47 minutes. Remember, I'm operating off battery power. So silicon, magnesium, nickel, and obviously ice. So let's get over here real quick, and we'll see what the next area brings. We're looking for uranium and iron. If we can find them together, that is perfect. Usually you'll see at least 2, if not 3, up to 4 different mineable resources. So we've got nickel in each of the veins, iron, fantastic. So just make this perfect will be, do we have uranium? We have cobalt, iron, nickel. Okay, there's no uranium at this point. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to check out one more thing. Remember, keep your level. So use your Q and your E to maintain your ship level. If you do go on an angle, you're going to start drifting, and you find it a lot more difficult to control the aircraft. So we're going to check out, there's 2 more veins, actually 3 more veins to check out. We're going to check them out specifically. Again, we're looking for the uranium. We know the design behind us, which is very important. We'll come back to that. But if we can find a vein with uranium and iron together, that, my friend, is a jackpot we just hit. So we're going to find that if we can. Silver, very important. We'll need that for doing more gold. Okay, great. So we'll need gold and silver for different resources. Specifically, the silver will allow us to build more nuclear reactors. So for nuclear reactor, we'll need iron, silver, and gravel. The gravel we can get from processing any stone. So what have we got over here? But we need the uranium to power that nuclear reactor. So hopefully we got nickel, silicon, magnesium. Ooh, be careful, we're getting a little close there. Okay, so let's scoot over to this last section here. We got down to 37 minutes, but that's okay because we're running on battery. And what that means is we can actually set up some solar panels and recharge those batteries. We found uranium there, so I'm a little concerned about this. Looks like a little bit to the right as well, so that's what we can do here. So, come on, uranium. Alrighty, what have we got here? Silicon, what, magnesium, uranium, you little ripper. Now, so we know uranium's here, and we got iron over there, so we got magnesium. Let's just do one more thing here. Looks like there might be a vein. No, okay, so we are going to settle here. So this is our spot. So now we're going to look around. Where is the sun? Sun's that way. It's probably setting. So we want to scoot to that direction. And back up a little bit. There we go. Even her up. Uranium. Beautiful. We're going to drop down a little bit in size. Great. So what we're going to do is we're just going to land this little guy. Alright, how are we looking here? A little bit more. We want to stay away from that vein, because we're going to actually burrow down about a 45-degree angle to the uranium, which is 140 meters down. So if we scroll in, hold down the Alt key, and you can move your mouse and use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. And we're just going to land this little guy. There we go, and we are set. So the first thing we are going to do here is we're going to hit the I for India to bring up your systems here. We're going to go control panel. We're going to type in thrusters. And we're going to select the first one, hold the shift key down, select the last one, and type in thrusters in the block group and click save. Next thing we're going to do is turn them off. This will help us save as much possible energy as we can. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit V and then F, and we're going to hit J. Now the helmet is off, and if you have a look on the left hand side, you'll see state. In the bottom left corner you'll see your oxygen. Mine's currently at 51%. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down, run to here, and at the medical room select that, hold down the F key, and you'll see the oxygen go back up. Okay, we're good. Energy's up, oxygen's up, hydrogen's up. If you run out of energy and your helmet's up, you're okay. So now what we need to do is a couple of things. First, we need to go cargo container and hit F. That will get you into this listing here, this inventory. We want to choose, we want to get some steel plate, but we only want a little bit. So we're going to hold the control key and click 3 times. It's going to give us 30 steel plate. Actually, let's make it 50. And then we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. And I want you to double click on this and then double click on it. We're moving these specific items from the second cargo container to the first one. The reason for that is we use the second cargo container for our resources. Great. One last thing we need to do, we go to control panel, go back to inventory, look for the reactor, and look, we've got 0.11 kilograms, 0.11 kilogram. Now we start with 0.3, so we're going to take that out now. Okay, and we are then going to hold on to that. So we're going to go control panel, scroll down to your reactor, and we're going to say conveyor system, make sure the reactor's off and conveyor system off. The conveyor system will automatically grab the resources it needs for the function. So if it's a reactor and there's uranium in the cargo, it will automatically draw it into the reactor. So what we're going to do now is put this where it needs to be in here, and we don't have to worry about the reactor drawing it automatically. And then we've got the 50 of these, the steel plates. We're going to take the 20 interior plates. We're going to take let's have a look. We're going to take some computers, hold down the control key, that'll give us 10. If you hold down the shift key, that gives you 100. If you double click, it takes everything. And then we're going to take 50 construction components. This will be a good start. What we're doing now is we're actually going to scroll back up and use the number 2 key to get our grinder. On this flooring here, if you use L, you turn on your little lights on your head, and you'll see steel catwalk, and we're actually going to grind this down till we get to about 10 interior plate at the bottom. We don't really want the interior plate yet, but what we do want is the small steel tubes. Make sure you don't grind this down too much, because as you can see the bars are there. When the whole thing's gone, it's a lot more difficult to navigate the ship than when you're just stepping on bars. I'm just going to grab these real quick. This won't affect the ship at all, but it's going to give us the resources we need to do what we need to do real quick. Okay, so now we've got that done. The next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to hit the number 4 key, and we've got a light armor block we can set up. And if you use your mouse wheel and you push your mouse wheel up, you can try it, maybe up or down for you, you're going to get this light armor slope. If it's facing the wrong way, use your delete key and your home key and you can spin these around. Okay, so click on that, and then what we'll do is we've got to the point now where we need to go to the grinder, which is number 2, and grind this down. Okay, and then we go before, and we put another one in here. There we go. And we're actually going to weld these real quick, because we're going to have these for quite a while. So let's get this started. Fantastic. Alright, so there we go. So now we are up here, and the next step is going to be harnessing the energy. So we want to set up our solar panels. So the first thing we need to do is make sure they're aligned properly. So we're going to hit home and rotate it around, and we want it that way. And so we'll go there. That's a good point, and we'll set up the next one here like that, and we're going to go 1, and we're going to start putting the resources we need. So as you can see, the resources we need that we have is bright white. What we don't have is a dark grey, and it tells you we need 1 steel tube to continue. So we're going to go down, and we're going to get at least 2 steel tubes, and we're going to get 128 solar cells. We want to do this fairly quickly because the sun is going down, and we want to harness as much energy into the batteries as we can. That's going to help us in the future. Once we find and we're able to get that critical uranium, these batteries won't be as important, but they're still important. So we're going to look for this. So it's only 6, so we can't get 10. So we're going to double click on here, take all of the large steel tubes, and we're also going to press we're going to hold down the shift key and the left click on here, 100, and then control key and click and click. So we want 128, so we want 130 here, so we should be good to go. So we hit the escape key to back out, and then we're going to go back up. This is by far the easiest way I've found to start yourself off on the solar system, the star system. We need to harness the energy quickly, space to jump over that, and finish the solar panels quickly. Ideally, if you can, try and set up 4 solar panels. 2 to pick up the sunrise in the morning, and 2 for the sunset. You want them all vertical to start with, unless you're in the poles. If you're in the poles and you know because it's white and there's always a lot of sun, put them horizontal. That'll help you capture the most possible. But for the moment, in this case, we're going to put up 4 solar panels, and we're going to put them up vertically. We're just going to do 2 for the moment. It's going to help capture that energy. When we hit B, we can kind of watch our guy. He's doing what he's doing. It's pretty neat. So how do you know if your solar panels are working? The blue marker dictates, if you'll see on that line, the blue marker is actually telling you ownership. When you get past that point, you own that, no one else does. The red marker is when it works. So when you pass the red marker point and that gauge there, you know, you don't have to be 100% to make it work, but when it's at the red marker, it is working. It's now taking energy and it is putting it into the system. It only needs to be connected to the system directly. You don't need any cables. Now the next thing is you'll see these 4 green lights. At the moment, 1 of them's lit and 3 of them are not. This is showing you the amount of energy it's pulling. So right now we're going to turn the light off real quick, and we're going to look at the sun. The sun's high, these are vertical, so when you can see it looks like another planet there, when it gets to about here, these will start increasing in its efficiency. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to here, and we are actually going to go and hit F to get into the flight seat. No fuel, we don't worry, because that is talking about the uranium. We took the uranium out. We're going to hit I, and we're going to go control panel. Under control panels, you'll see your batteries. So the reason why we did this is if we leave these ticked, what will happen is it won't charge your batteries until they're fully discharged, and that could be dangerous. So what this will do is if there's too much power being produced, it will take the excess power and store it into the batteries. If there's not enough power, like at night, then the batteries will be used for powering the systems. It will always use the power from the batteries last. So it goes for the I'm just having a brain fart here. Alrighty, So the solar panels will go first, then the batteries, and then after the batteries are out, it will look at using the uranium. So you can see here, fully charged in 2 days. What we're looking at is a stored power that it currently has. Its current output is 2.08 kilowatts, but its current input is 9.43. It is dropping, but that's okay. So we know that it's getting more power in than it's pushing out, so that's a really good sign. So we're going to hit X on this one right now. I'm going to bail out of here, and the last thing we are going to do to finish off just this one episode today, is we are actually going to set up our first base. It is a very, very simple process. Where is the sun? Oh, it looks like it's still going up. So this must be where the sun rises. So what we do is we hit 4, and we get the light armor slope, and we want to change that to the blocks. Now if you use your scroll wheel, this is a new effect that they've set up in the last update. Before it used to be individuals, now you can use the scroll wheel, and we are going to actually set this block up around here. We're going to try to line up as best we can. Click the block there once, click a second armor block here, and then we're going to build them real quick. Now this is for our new base. Once we lock this in using what we call a merge block, your ship will no longer be available for flight. But that's okay, so we need more steel plates. We are actually going to produce a little vehicle to do the running around in. And then when we've got enough uranium, we're going to build a real ship. So let's just go and get 300 of these. Let's get some of these. We'll need the motors, we'll need these construction components. There'll be other elements we need, but we'll grab them later on. And we're going to get some computers. We're going to grab 20 computers for the moment. So we'll X this out. We're definitely going to need large steel tubes as well, but we'll grab that from a different area. Now, when you look at the bottom, you'll see your tools. If you go Control 2, it's empty. Control 3, so you've basically got 9 panels of tools available to you. So we're going to hit the G. G will allow us to take anything in here, and by right clicking it'll assign it to here. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to search, and we're looking for a merge block. This will allow us to turn our old temporary ship. If you look at this, you watch, there'll be a warning. This ship is temporary. It will be removed when you leave the game or spawn a new one. This will disappear once we get this resolved. So, and then using the N key, okay, let's try this way. So the delete key has rotated. You can see the way it's rotating. That's a new feature again. So we're going to click there, and then we're actually going to set the bottom here. We're going to click here. So for these, what we're going to need, I'm going to Control 1 and then 1 to get this back up. We're going to need 5 steel plates, 15 construction, 2 motors, 6 steel tubes, computers, large, so on, so on. So we're going to start and see what we've got. We've got everything. So that's great. So that's taken out of the inventory and is now putting it and installing it in the system. Now if you have a look at the bar, you'll see the red and the blue are almost identical. This merge block is now fully functional, but by putting in all the steel plates required, will actually make it stronger. And you can see from here, we have everything we need to make these 2 merge blocks complete. So to finish up in a few minutes, once we get this done, we're actually going to power the ship back up with this thrusters, and we're going to merge the ship into a base. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit 4, light armor block, and we're going to go blop, blop, and then we're going to choose the slope. There we go, and look, it's the wrong way. So by using the N key, you can see it rotated around. So we're going to rotate N key there, and we'll block, and then there we go, and this will actually be the start of our mine. And also, it'll help us when we need to get back into our ship, get into the ship. Okay, there we go. So we're going to use the 2 merge blocks we created to merge this station here, which isn't much, and this ship together, and it'll convert this ship into a station. It'll also deny the temporary status, which means it becomes a permanent feature of the game. You will not lose this ship once it's complete. So now we're going back up and we're going to jump into here. So we're going to hit F on the flight seat.
No fuel.
No fuel, that's okay. And we're going to hit V for Victor. And using your Alt key, we're going to look around. Woo, there we go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go I for India and bring up this menu here. Go to Control Panel. And here is the thrusters we made before. So we're going to click on this group and we're going to click on. And then the thrusters, you can hear them turn on. So next I'm going to hit X and then number 2. See how you've got landing gear on and off and then lock. If you turn your landing gear off, you can't unlock. We're going to unlock the landing gear.
No fuel.
And we're going to take off just a little bit. There we go. Just a little bit. So now,
no fuel.
when we look this way, we're going to hit Tab, pull that off. Okay, we're good. We're going to go forward a little bit. And then we are actually going to rotate this way and use your thrusters. So we're using the D right now to go right. And then we go forward and it will lock in place in just a moment. There we go. And how do you know he's locked in place? Because the little guy is showing. Now I did see something interesting from the back of the ship, so I'm going to check on that in a second. But what we're going to do is go back in and turn everything we don't need off. This is going to save precious power. So landing gears off, thrusters off. We are going to turn off, that should be off, the gyroscope. We don't need a gyroscope anymore. And everything else should be off as required. So there we go. We have just created your first space station that is usable. So now we're going to scroll on, run on back down here, and I saw something. It might just be a light effect. If you hold your shift key down, you can kind of, there we go. I saw something flying in the back. I guess it was just an effect. There's nothing here. If something does break, you'll see that component disappearing, and rolling away or falling away depending on the gravity position and stuff like that. So what we're going to do now in the next episode is we are actually going to start mining, and this will be where we start mining. We're going to do some actual physical mining with our mining tool. So if you hit tab, you can see our mining tool here, number 3. We know there's uranium in here, and there it is, 32 meters down. So that won't take long to get to it all. So we're going to finish this off. The last thing we will do actually is we're going to hit 4, choose the block, and we're actually going to go block, block, block there, and we're gonna, how much? Good. We'll make these real quick. And what we're going to do from here is run around the other side, and we are actually going to change this heavy ramp. I'm going to grind this, oops, not that one. There we go, heavy armored slope. We're going to take that out, and we're going to put in a regular square block. The main reason we're doing this is obviously so it's consistent, easy to walk through. And we had to put these blocks around here so our ship wouldn't fall away. Because at this point, the majority of this was all connected to the merge blocks. We didn't mean to do that. If you ever do this, just hit X. You have your jetpack. You can fly with your spacebar. Use your S key to go back. Hit X to turn off. There we go. And then we're just going to go for number 4. We're going to put a light armor block there, and we're going to finish building this. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your space station. It's not much. Earth Station Alpha, or Fluffy Nuts, or whatever you want to call it, is now complete. That ship no longer exists, and next we will go through how to utilize resources to make an efficient mine and then build different ships so we can explore a planet around us. Very exciting. Look, ooh, it's pretty. Look, there's your planets. There's the sun. So yeah, there's the sun sets in this way, and the sun might rises this way. Very handy to know. So what we'll do is we'll finish up here, but if you have any questions, let us know. Don't ever close this because that's where your oxygen's coming from, and we'll end up cannibalizing the ship later on as appropriate. So make this work. So we're just going to hit F here, and we'll call it a day. So have a wonderful day. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and the next episode will be following shortly.